that world of darkness.
Something is alive in the Funhouse. Something not alive like its father. Something better dead. Something that has the form of a human, but not the face.
This better be good.
It's gonna be great.
Something that feeds off the flesh and blood of young innocents.
Come on, here we go. This is it.
Something that tonight will turn the Funhouse into a carnival of terror.
I don't know what that thing is. We're gonna find you. I just want to get the hell out of here.
The Funhouse, coming soon from Universal Pictures. The Funhouse. It's a carnival of terror from Tobe Hooper, the director who terrified you with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Hey everyone, Summerhill Cinema 700 here with a review on the 1981 film directed by Tobe Hooper, The Funhouse. Now, I haven't done a movie review, I think since, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure if you look at my channel, the last time I did a review was last summer. I think it was Bloodhook, the 80s slasher film, Bloodhook. I'm pretty sure that was the last one that I reviewed. And pardon me too if I sound a bit congested, I'm just getting over a cold. But anyways, yeah, 1981's The Funhouse. Just watched it for the first time. Bought the Blu-ray here from Scream Factory quite a while ago. And just hadn't got around to watching it. So I finally watched it today for the first time. And I thought I'd do a review on it because it's quite a simple plot. And I find myself sometimes with more complex movies having a hard time doing reviews. I just find myself getting lost and I don't find myself the greatest reviewer when it comes to more complex films. But because this is such a simple plot, I thought I'd do a review on it. So anyways, let's just get right into it. So again, from 1981, this is a horror film. It kind of has slasher elements to it, but it's not quite a slasher film, although some people do consider it a slasher film. But anyways, start of the film, we meet this girl in her house. You see her and her little brother. She's going out on a date with this guy. She wants to go to the movie theater. Well, I guess their original plan was they were going to go to the carnival that's in town, but she decides, I'd rather go to the movie theater. But he's like, no, come on, it'll be fun. Let's go to the carnival. So the two of them go pick up the two of their other friends, this other guy and his girlfriend, and then they head to the carnival. And then the girl who we meet at the start of the film, her little brother ends up sneaking out of the house and going to the carnival too. Now, before we get into the whole what happens in this film, the girl who plays the lead character, I thought throughout the film, she looks familiar. And what it was she was actually in an episode of Miami Vice. Her name in real life is Elizabeth Berridge or something like that. And anyways, I recognized her because she was in an episode of Miami Vice. But anyway, so she's like the lead actress in this film. So anyways, they go to this carnival. It's a really cool looking carnival. And they're doing all these different things. They're stoned. They're smoking pot at this carnival, and they end up going into the Funhouse. And it's like, oh, this is really cool. And they decide that, let's stay the night in the Funhouse. So that's what they end up doing is they end up waiting, or they go on the ride. They go into this thing, and they're inside the Funhouse. And then the carts just come out and they're like empty. So the guy who's like running it's like dressed up in this like Frankenstein suit. He's really weird. So they're now staying in the Funhouse for the night. And yeah, like I just mentioned, you see this character. He's really weird. He's like operating this one ride at the carnival, and he's wearing this like Frankenstein uniform. He's just acting really weird. And then you see there's this other guy too who's working at the carnival, who ends up being this character's dad. And he's just like this really creepy old guy. He's like leering around, and he seems to appear everywhere. Like this girl, the lead actress, she's walking around with her friends, and she's looking, and she sees like a guy over here, and then she looks over here, and there's another guy, and it's like the same guy, and it was the same actor who played all these different characters or different versions of himself, rather. So, anyways, long story short, they end up staying the night in the Funhouse. Then all this crazy stuff starts happening. I wrote a few things down here. Let me just make sure I'm on track. Yeah, so they stay the night in this place. They're walking around, exploring. All of a sudden, they hear this noise, and they look down through the cracks in the wood and the floor, and they see that Frankenstein character walking around. And he's with this woman who we see earlier in the film. She's like a fortune teller, and she tells people's fortunes at the carnival. And she's played by this actress. I can't remember her name in real life, but she's this very like voluptuous woman. She was an older lady even at the time. I believe she's passed away quite a while ago now, or maybe it might have just been a few years ago. Anyways, she was in The Sentinel, the paranormal film from the 70s. She was also in Midnight Cowboy. She's the guy that, the lady that Buck sleeps with when he first goes to New York. That older lady. She's in a lot of films, but anyway, so she's the fortune teller, and this Frankenstein character, weirdo guy, seems like he's got mental issues. He's trying to pay her off for sex, and then doesn't end up going as he planned, let's just say. So he freaks out and ends up killing her. And then the other guy who I said who was outside kind of leering around all creepy, who's his dad, comes in and finds out, and he's freaking out. And he was going to pay her $100 for the sex, and then all this other money that he had in this box, this Frankenstein guy, which is the money that they made, I guess, at the carnival, has disappeared. Well, it turns out that one of the guys, one of our lead characters, the girls, took the money he's got in his pocket. So now the whole movie is him trying to escape this funhouse, and they're being picked off one by one by this crazy old man and his Frankenstein son, who we find out is not actually a Frankenstein thing. He's actually this crazy freaking monster. He takes his mask off, and you see this freaking crazy monster. And anyways, they end up getting pretty much picked off one by one until there's only a few of them left, rather, maybe one of them. I'm not going to spoil it too much, but they're getting picked off. Again, there's only 4 characters, so you can only look forward to potentially 4 kills, but there ends up only being, so anyways, I don't know even what I'm saying now. There's not a ton of gore in this film. Like I said, that's basically what this movie is. They go into the funhouse, they decide to stay the night, and then they're trying to escape, and they can't get out. These 2 girls and their boyfriends, and her little brother, like I mentioned earlier, is in the carnival at the carnival too, and he knows that they're in there. But earlier in the film, they had a bit of an argument, him and his sister. So he's like, "Yeah, I guess I'm not going to say anything," because I guess her parents come to pick him up. They find out he's at the carnival. She's inside. She's trying to scream at them, but they can't hear her. But yeah, basically this whole film is just them trying to escape this place, and they're getting killed off. And well, actually, you know what? If you're watching this, I'm assuming maybe you've seen the film. So spoiler alert: if you haven't seen it, don't go past this point. Basically, they all end up getting picked off one by one, except for the lead character, the girl in the film. One of the guys has a fight with that crazy old man in the funhouse, and ends up killing him, ends up skewering him on like this sword on this knight in shining armor. Was it? Or no, the first one that got killed off was the other guy. So there's the main girl and her boyfriend, and then the other guy and his girlfriend. The other guy, the guy with the glasses in the film, he ends up getting killed. They're like walking around, all of a sudden a rope goes around his neck and he gets hung and strung up, and he's dead. And then the girl runs after him and ends up falling down into this hole, and then she ends up getting killed by that crazy monster character. So it's just the 2 of them left, the lead girl and her boyfriend. They're trying to escape this place. He ends up getting killed, and then it's just her. And then she eventually finds her way out, but near the end she has there's like this fight scene with her and that monster character, and then he ends up getting like electrocuted. So I have a few things written down here. Let's talk about some of the stuff that I enjoyed about this film and some of the things that I didn't like. So the intro to the movie was really cool. At the start of the film, you see these like all these like puppets and stuff, and all these like mechanical puppets and whatnot. That was really cool. Although, like I said, not a ton of gore and not super scary, it is a creepy movie. It does have a creepy atmosphere to it. When they're in this funhouse, it's definitely unsettling. Although there weren't a ton of like practical effects, just because I said there weren't that many kills. The gore effects looked decent, but the practical effects on the monster character looked pretty good. The score too, the music in the movie was really good. It's like a classical style soundtrack. She'll play a bit of that here for a second if we can. So yeah, I really enjoyed the soundtrack to this film. Um, like I said, it's not really a slasher film. It's more of a horror film, but it does feel like a slasher film at times with some of the kills and whatnot. It just has that kind of vibe of a slasher film. And of course, this came out in 1981, which is right around like the golden age craze of the whole slasher film thing was going on. So that was cool. Um, Nudity wise in this film, you just get a little bit at the start of the film. The lead girl, you see her like topless, and at the first it's really creepy because you're like, oh my god, she looks really young. But apparently, I think she was like 19 or something in this film, but she looks really young. At first, I was like, oh god. Um, the only thing that I disliked about this film was the ending. I just didn't find the ending that good. I think the ending could have been better. She's just like, she just leaves and you just see her walking off. It's like the next morning she's leaving. She's walking through like the carnival and everybody's just like setting stuff up. And that's it. That's it. That's how it ends. So, anyways, it was a fun movie. Nothing great. Out of 10, I'd give it probably 6 stars. That's what I gave it on my IMDb rating. 6 out of 10. Just it felt kind of generic. But it was fun. I shouldn't say that because I don't know if I've seen another film that took place in a funhouse, but I'm sure there are a lot of kind of carnival-themed horror films. Even Killer Clowns from Outer Space has that carnival kind of feel to it. But no, it was a fun movie. It definitely was fun. But, when I think about Tobe Hooper, most people think of him for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is widely considered to be his best film and one of the greatest horror films ever made. Another good film, of course, would be Poltergeist, another classic by him. There's also another film, Eaten Alive, which is about like this. It's like in the southern states of America, somewhere there. There's this crazy redneck freak living in the swamps, and he's got this pet alligator that's like killing people. I'd put that probably on the same level as this. That one came out in the 70s or something, but I'd put this one about the same kind of entertainment level as that. I'd have to rewatch that one. This one might be a little bit better, the Funhouse. I think Tobe Hooper, then he also did the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, or did he just produce that? I can't remember for sure. I think he directed it, but my personal favorite piece of film work from Tobe Hooper was was it 1978 or 79 two-part miniseries Salem's Lot, the vampire two-part series Salem's Lot. That's my favorite work of Tobe Hooper. I think that's his best work, the creepiest. And then after that, probably the Texas Chainsaw. But for me, Salem's Lot is his best work. But anyways, yeah, no, the Funhouse, it was definitely fun. It was definitely entertaining, but it wasn't anything like, it didn't blow me away in any form. But it was entertaining. I liked the characters. I thought that the characters were good. They were likable. And a lot of times in these films, slasher movies, it can be very annoying. I found them likable. They were fun. The villains were kind of cool. Nothing too crazy, but the monster character was pretty neat. And I even liked his Frankenstein outfit. I thought that looked pretty cool. And that's about all there is to say about this. And then, of course, you have the Blu-ray from Scream Factory here. This is the original theatrical poster. Open it up for a sec. This is another bit of artwork that I think was on lots of VHS copies back in the day. Kind of that oozing mouth with all the slobber coming out of it, which the monster character is always kind of slobbering. You get some newly commissioned art as well, which I'm sure you've all seen. You can just look that up. I'm not going to show that just because the case is kind of cracked and it'll all fall apart. But anyways, for special features, you get an audio commentary of the director, Tobe Hooper. You get an interview with executive producer of the film. You get an audio interview with actor William Finley, who was the guy who played the Crazy Monster's dad. And it's weird too, because like this film came out in '81, and then this Blu-ray came out, I think, in what was it? I don't know. It was like 2013 or something, maybe a little bit. I can't remember. It's been out for a while now. It's maybe even before that. It might have been like 2012. It's been out for like 10 years or something. But if you look at the guy in the film, he looks older then than he does in his interview like 30 years later, which is really bizarre. He's like in the film he's like fat and he just looks really old, and then in this he looks about the same age but thinner, and that's really bizarre. I think he passed away a couple of years ago or something. But anyways, and then you get a theatrical trailer, TV spots, and more. So it's definitely a good Blu-ray. You can find it for pretty cheap now. Unfortunately, I got it long after it was been released, so I didn't get the slipcover. But yeah, it's definitely a good release. Transfer looked good. Again, this is my first time seeing it, so I don't know what it looked like on like VHS or whatnot. But the transfer looked good to me. Yeah, it was a fun film. So that's 1981's The Funhouse. Let me know if you like this film. What do you think of it? Are you a fan of it? Do you dislike it? It was definitely fun. Like I mentioned too, probably my favorite part of it would be the soundtrack. It was really cool. But yeah, no, it was fun. It was. I've seen a lot worse films than this. 80s horror films, definitely a lot worse. But I've definitely seen better too. So that's 1981's The Funhouse, directed by Tobe Hooper. Thank you very much for watching this video. Again, let me know what you think of this film, and we will see you next time. All right, take care, everyone.